What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, many people have reached out to me and asked me what's my thoughts on this. I did a 3-hour live stream on this last night, but I guess many people haven't seen it or just haven't gotten to the part where I discussed this, and they asked me to recap this. That's the situation brewing between undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, now the reigning undisputed welterweight world champion, who is widely acknowledged and recognized as the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence "Bud" Crawford, who is 40 wins, no losses, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age. He'll be 36 September 28th. He is 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford is coming off the biggest, most lucrative fight of his career. Okay, the biggest marquee fight of his career. The biggest statement he's made in his career. That took place July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, when he took on and defeated now former unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. has 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, they fought in a highly anticipated fight that was anticipated and the biggest fight in the last decade, and on paper was seen to be the most 50-50 fight, if there ever were one, in the last 40 years, since September 16, 1981, a Wednesday, in which Thomas the Hitman Hearns took on Sugar Ray Leonard for undisputed in two-belt era. One of the greatest iconic fights in history. And it was seen to be that, right? It was a build-up. It was for historic. You had 2 top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. You had, undisputed history on the line. There's never been a 4 major sanction belt undisputed welterweight world champion. So there was a lot at stake. Both guys are undefeated. And the fight turned out to be not competitive. Errol Spence won the first round, and that was it. In the second round, Terence Crawford dominated the second round, dropped Errol Spence. The third round, Errol Spence came out aggressive, trying to get his momentum back after getting dropped in the first half of the third round. Thought he was winning, and then Terence Crawford took over from the second half of the third round and never looked back. Dropped Errol Spence twice in the 7th round, and then stopped him in the 9th round. And some people said it should have been stopped in the 6th and 7th round. So it wasn't competitive. But now the build-up, the lead-up to this fight, there was a lot of hardship negotiations. And they came to an agreement where they had a rematch clause, which is important to note here, which we'll be talking about here. They have a rematch clause where the winner gets to choose the weight class the rematch is in, and they're going to get a bigger share of the percentage. The loser has 30 business days, working business days, to activate the rematch clause, and the winner has to oblige and is contractually obligated to give the loser the rematch. But the winner can call the shots. And in this case, Terence Crawford can call the shots. Terence Crawford went into these negotiations as the B-side. And Terence Crawford is on record saying that if it wasn't for Errol Spence, it wasn't for Errol Spence's sacrifices, this fight would not have been made. Right? He continued to give credit to Errol Spence for his role in making this fight happen. Right? Errol Spence goes on record and says, listen, if it wasn't for me, this fight would not have got made. Terence Crawford, he says, Errol Spence may feel like he gave up too much to make this fight happen. Nonetheless, they made it happen. After the fight was over immediately, post-fight, Errol Spence said, I want to have the rematch immediately in December. Hopefully we could do it at 154, junior middleweight. Having a hard time making this weight. Terence Crawford was asked in the post-fight press conference about going to 154. He said, why not? It's not easy for him to make 147. Well, now things have settled and Terence Crawford has settled in. And Terence Crawford has now changed his mind on a few things. He said his weight limit, his ceiling for going up in weight was 154 pounds, junior middleweight. He wanted to face Errol Spence's close friend, stablemate, and training partner in 3-time junior middleweight world champion, former undisputed junior middleweight world champion, superstar, top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, and Jermell Iron Man Charlo, who is 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. But Jermell Charlo has decided to dare to be great, jump up from 154 to 168, super middleweight, 2 divisions, and challenge 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who is widely considered the face of the sport of boxing and is the undisputed super middleweight world champion, in Saul Canelo Alvarez, who has a record of 59 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. Jermell Charlo is 33 years of age, 5'11.5" with a 73.5-inch arm reach. So they're going to fight September 30th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. With that said, right, with all that said, Jermell Charlo is not available. Terence Crawford initially stated that 54 was his cap, his limit. Now Terence Crawford changed his tune and said, you know what? He realized a fight with him and Canelo is not that far-fetched. He can move up to 168, and he feels like he now can beat Canelo Alvarez. So he says he wants to fight the winner of that fight at 168. So his close friend, title contender, star boxer, Steven So-Called Nelson, who makes all his uniforms, makes his outfits, and like a brother to Terence Crawford. These reports started to surface about this rematch clause, that Errol Spence activated the rematch clause. And there's reports that it's dragging out because Errol Spence wants to fight. He's already registered now as a junior middleweight. He's already in the rankings as a junior middleweight, 154-pounder. And now Terence Crawford wants to fight to take place at 147. And it's being reported that he wants to take place at 147 or catch weight, or he wants to go to 154 but get paid more money for his sacrifice to go to 154 than what he's already scheduled to, the percentage he already scheduled to get. And so Steve Nelson came out and said, we offered him a fight at 147. And hopefully he don't take it, because it's not even necessary for him to have this fight, a rematch with Errol Spence, because Terence Crawford wants to dare to be great. He wants to do something that's never been done, jump up 3 weight classes and fight and beat Canelo. There's a few things wrong with that, but there's a few things right with it. One thing that's wrong with it is that you're banking on Canelo Alvarez, who is the face of boxing, giving you the opportunity. You're also banking on Canelo Alvarez winning September 30th, which that's not a foregone conclusion. And if Jermell Charlo beats Canelo Alvarez, then Jermell Charlo has to rematch Canelo Alvarez more than likely in May. And if Terence Crawford is to stay at 147, he has the International Boxing Federation mandatory challenges that he inherited from beating Errol Spence in undefeated welterweight superstar title contender Jerron Boots Ennis, who is 31 wins, no loss, no draw, 28 wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. So Mr. Peoples of the IBF may just strip Terence Crawford that IBF title if he don't defend it against Jerron Ennis if he stays at 147. And he says he's trying to force, according to Steve Nelson, who's I'm sure in the loop and very aware of what's going on, Steve Nelson says that they hope that Errol Spence don't take the rematch because it's not necessary. So if Errol Spence don't take it and you stay at 147 and keep his titles, because according to his team, they said that Terence Crawford wants to keep his titles. So if you stay at 147 and keep your titles, then you're going to have to defend it against Jerron Ennis if you don't rematch Errol Spence. And again, you're banking on Canelo Alvarez giving you the opportunity where there's no foregone conclusion that he will do that, unless you have a plan in place already and a deal in place. And this is also going to come off extremely wrong to Errol Spence and to Errol Spence's handlers, who advised him not to give everything and concede to everything for Terence Crawford, what he did anyway for the better part to make this fight happen. It's not going to look good to do business with them moving forward, who also have Canelo Alvarez under their wing and also have Jermell Charlo. So if Jermell Charlo is victorious and a close friend with Errol Spence, then why would he negotiate with Terence Crawford if Terence Crawford essentially pulls the rug, quote unquote, from underneath Errol Spence's feet? Now, he don't owe Errol Spence anything. It's all in principle. He doesn't owe Errol Spence a thing. He doesn't owe Errol Spence a fight to go to 154. He can choose the fight to be at 147. Very well so. But if you planned on moving to 54, what's the plan? Because, again, you may not be available to fight Canelo Alvarez, or Canelo may not be available. If he loses to Jermell Charlo, they're going to rematch in May. And if they rematch in May, then Canelo won't, if Canelo wins the rematch, he won't be available to fight till September. And imagine if Jermell Charlo wins both the fights, and then he feels like you slighted Errol Spence. Now he doesn't never give you the opportunity. You turn 36 next month, in 2 weeks. Time is not on your side, so this is a bad, in my opinion, strategy. Is he well in his rights to do it? Yes. Is he wrong? No. Principle-wise, if you felt like Errol Spence bent over backwards to make sure y'all made this fight and give you everything you wanted, yes, it's bad. It's wrong, because you should give Errol Spence that respect that he gave you and return the favor and do it at 154, since you plan to go to 154 anyway. Right? But the strategy, you have nothing concrete to solidify and back up your game plan, because again, you're going to have to fight if you want to keep your belts, then you fight Jaron Ennis, which you said you wasn't interested. But then if you then fight, the best way to do it is fight Errol Spence at 154 in December. Do away with it. You beat him, you win the rematch, you plan to go to 68. If you beat Errol Spence in December, you still have 5 months to plan to get to 168 to prepare for Canelo Alvarez, Jermell Charlo winner. That will make the negotiations easy for them. Because guess what they're going to do? If you make this negotiations hard for Errol Spence, they're going to make it hard for you if they give you the fight. So, is Terence Crawford wrong? No. Because he's well in his right to choose the weight class. If he feels like this fight is not necessary to happen because it was a competitive, one-sided, dominating performance on his part, and it's hard to get motivated for the rematch, it's understandable. He's looking for Errol Spence to not take the rematch so he can move on. The problem is, move on to who is the question. Because, again, Canelo Alvarez is also with the Premier Boxing Champion, founding advisor Al Heyman, Showtime President Sports Steven Espinosa, and so is Jermell Charlo. And if they feel like you slighted Errol Spence, then how do you expect to get a fair shake in negotiations with them? Who's going to be the A side against you? Undoubtedly, Canelo Alvarez beats Jermell Charlo. He is going to be the A side against Terence Crawford. And if Jermell Charlo beats Canelo Alvarez, he is going to be the A side against Terence Crawford, because he just beat the face of sport of boxing. He's the undisputed champion in 2 separate weight classes, just like Terence Crawford. Now, Terence Crawford was the first male to do it, but Jermell Charlo has a leg to stand on, and he already beat Canelo Alvarez. And you asking him for opportunity, he's not asking you for it. So he will undoubtedly be the A side. You're making it hard for yourself in the negotiations moving forward, in my opinion. But let's see how this unfolds and plays out. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. So all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.